Alright, so thought it was time for another little football video just talking about everything that's going on with regards to the transfer market, to be honest with you. Just to get straight into the video, I think the most interesting kind of area and department that teams are really struggling to find someone in, and it has been a case for a couple of years, is that number 9 role. Everyone out there, Liverpool are probably looking for a number 9, Arsenal are looking for a number 9, we know that, United are looking for a number 9. And I think everyone would probably say and agree that it's becoming very hard to find someone that you want to get in, that is going to be a sure thing, because the prices that these guys that we're going to go through, like your Gyokeres and Seskos and Isak and all those guys, I mean, you're touching close to 100 million, aren't you? You're looking at 70 plus for a few of them. I think Gyokeres' release clause is about what in the 60s or something. But you're not talking small money, right? And it's going to take a big part of your budget to lure that guy in. Sometimes I think, as it should, if you want to get a guy that's going to get you goals, you got to go out and pay the money. But there's not a lot of them out there. There's not a lot at all. So I wanted to start this video with the search for a number 9. So the two guys that are really kind of being talked about, that everyone's looking at, but again, what I find interesting is no one's going and taking the jump and getting it done and being like, yeah, we're getting him in, he's going to get us the goals, he's our guy. So those two guys are obviously Gyokeres and Sesko. So I had a little look at both of them. I've watched a couple of highlight clips just to kind of just get a quick idea again on what types of players they are, because I don't watch the Portuguese league, and I don't watch the Bundesliga as much as I do the Prem and the Scottish league. So just to get an idea in my head. But I had a little look at those highlights. I want to go through the stats, just kind of go through the last kind of 5 years or so roughly. Sesko's a bit younger, so we'll go through his last couple of years just to see where they're at, and if it's worth kind of spending that money on them. And I do find it interesting that no one is definitively gone for them, like I said, because you're really needing that position. There's not a lot of them, and if you're not fully sure and you're spending that much money, I don't know, which makes it tough. So let's look at Gyokeres. So we know he's 27, right? He's just turned it, beginning of June. So he's a little bit older. You could say he's in peak years, but he's maybe got. I know players play a little bit longer now, and everything's going a bit longer duration. He's probably got 2 to absolute 3 more years, real peak, real max. Certainly if you're kind of going down the business route of looking to sell him at some point, if you wanted to do that, of still having some kind of sell-on value when he's 30. So we'll say 3 years, right? So let's look at Gyokeres. I just went back to season 2021. He's a bit older, so when he's in the championship at Norwich, he plays 30 games, he gets 3 goals. So that's a while ago. He's a little bit younger. What's that? 5 years ago. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he's 23. I'm really bad at maths, by the way. He's 23. So in total, he plays 34 games, gets 5 goals and 1 assist. So we'd say not great. If we just move it on to the next season, if we have a little look at 21-22, my internet has been playing up today, so I'm really hoping that, yeah, it's going to decide to be slow. 21-22. If we look at it in the championship, he plays 45 games. It's a huge improvement. He gets 17 goals and 5 assists in total throughout the whole season. In 47 games, he gets 18 goals and 5 assists. So he's looking to hit double figures. It's a lot of games. 20 goals is roughly what you need to be in and around. If we look at 22-23, at Norwich he plays 46 games, he gets 21 goals and 10 assists. In total he plays 50 games, 22 goals, 12 assists. So his numbers are steadily improving, apologies about that, slowly kind of creeping up there. He then goes to Portugal in 2023. So for the 23-24 season, he plays 33 league games, he gets 29 goals and 9 assists. Pretty solid in that. In total, they're playing in the Europa League that year. He plays 50 games, he scores 43 goals and gets 15 assists. Again, you can talk about the quality of the league, but that's what he does there. I mean, that's high double-figure levels. And then we get to 24-25 last season. He plays 33 games in the league. He gets 39 goals and 8 assists. In total, across all competitions, he plays 52 games, gets 54 goals and 13 assists. 6 goals in the Champions League as well. So he's doing it at that level. High numbers, so you can see why you'd be interested, but again, it just makes me think, why is no one going all in for him? And again, maybe it's his age, but you just would think that if he's getting those numbers, and I know it is the Portuguese league, and sometimes it might be hard to translate, and I don't mean any offense to it because I don't watch it, right? But yeah, I don't know why no one's going all out for him. There's got to be something there that people are seeing behind the scenes that we're not, and we're not very sure of. So I think on that, let's just watch a little bit of Gyokeres highlights. Apologies if it goes to an advert or anything. This is on LUTY HD for this video, just to give them a little bit of credit. So let's just have a quick little look at Gyokeres, some highlights. The perfect striker, it says, skills, goals, and assists. So let's have a watch. That famous celebration.
Victor Gyokeres. It's Gyokeres.
Like I said, I've watched these videos already, so I have a little bit of an idea.
Was rocket propelled.
But both him and Sesko, big boys, move well for big boys. But you know when someone's big and it sometimes just doesn't look right, although that's what matters. But they're kind of like that. It's like, oh, is he gonna fall over? It just looks weird when they're a bit bigger. But he's got a bit of silky movements, little nutmeg there for those that are watching. He's got a good bit of pace for a big guy as well. He can hold it off and just fucking flick it through someone's legs.
Gyokeres scores!
Got good finishes on him. That's against City. I remember watching that game. He was good in that game. Finish. Weak it. Yeah, he takes his goals well when he does get into the box. Like you're saying, he's big. And he looks like he can do kind of really a bit of everything. So, stummied the boy there. Finish. Well done, son.
He's still mine.
Fair play. So, he's got some decent finishes on him there. Yeah, I don't know. I think it looks good. Is it worth paying his release clause again? He's got numbers there. It's just that the people think that's going to translate into the Premier League, and do they think that for that amount of money that they're asking for at the age of 27, that it's going to be worth it for them? So let's just move on to Sesko, who is the other one that's being compared with Gyokeres, kind of the two out there. I mean, he's younger, he's 22, so you're looking to take a little bit more of a punt, right? So this is the interesting thing between the difference between the two. It's a bit more of a punt because he's younger. Gyokeres has got a bit more kind of data and years to play, where you can kind of say, right, well, this is the type of player he is, and this is what he's getting at 27. Sesko, you could maybe mold into something, so to speak, right? So he just turned 22 in May, so he is young. I went back to just 21, 22 for Sesko is when he kind of starts playing in the main league. So in the Bundesliga that season, he plays 24 games, he gets 5 goals and 3 assists. They do play in the Champions League. That season he plays 6 games, doesn't get any goals or assists. So in total he plays 37 games, gets 11 goals and 7 assists. That's not bad at all for his first season in that league. It's double figure goals and it's a decent amount of assists. He's helping a team. We know how Leipzig like to play. You know, they're good to watch. So if we move up 22, 23, he plays 30 games, he gets 16 goals this time, and he gets 4 assists. So his goals have up there. In total, he plays 41 games, he gets 18 goals and 4 assists. Again, they are in the Champions League. He plays another 6 games and doesn't score, which would maybe concern me a little bit. I know Leipzig maybe going in there as kind of underdogs in most of those games, but he's not scored yet in the Champions League in his first 2 seasons. If we then finish off with 23, 24, sorry, not finish off with, but move on to, he plays 31 games in the Bundesliga, he gets 14 goals and 2 assists. 42 games in total, he gets 18 goals and 2 assists. He plays 8 in the Champions this year and does get 2 goals. So there he goes. He bags in 2 of the Champions League games. And then if we have a little look at last season, as it loads up. Yeah, so he plays 33 games. He gets 13 goals, 5 assists. In total, he gets 21 goals in 45 games, 6 assists. Champions League, he plays 8 games and gets 4 goals. So again, young, but you have to say those numbers are not jumping out and shouting at 50, 60, 70 plus million that it sounds like that Leipzig are wanting. So that one does make sense as to why no one is really too keen to go there yet. And I think for Sesko, it might just be a case of one more season of maybe boosting those numbers up even more and being like, right, okay, there's a bit of an improvement going on here. This guy's on the cusp of something at 23 years old. It might be a case of that, I think, is what's going to have to happen with him. I'll be intrigued. I mean, Arsenal are in that position, right? I'm going to go through at the end just kind of the transfers for the teams and what the vibe is kind of feeling like at the moment. But Arsenal are under real pressure to get that number 9 in, and it feels as if you're putting your punt on this guy here. He's not a sure thing. You're going to spend a good bit of your budget on him, and he's going to be expected to hit the ground running, and he's going to be expected to join a team and push them to a league title. We know that, because if they don't do it this year and they don't get kind of any trophies, unless it's obviously you push someone to the last day or you get to a Champions League final, I think might be a little different from there. That might be the thing that saves him. But the striker is going to have to come in and just hit the ground running. So for the price you're paying, I don't know if Sesko's the way to go either, to be honest on you there. So let's have a little look at his highlights. This is on Scout Nation. A little bit of highlights on Sesko. So again, I've watched this one. So let's have a little just minute or so deke at him and see what type of player he looks like. 24, 25 highlights. Big boy again. 6'4". That just say there.
Still Sesko goes. Outstanding.
Stunning dribbling, great little finish that. Dink again. Same way what we saw with Gyokeres. He's got good feet for a big boy. It looks a little weird.
Oh, that's lovely stuff. Oh, it's gorgeous.
That's stunning. Couple of little drags, keeping it tight to him, and he pulled it past the keeper.
Leipzig this season, beautifully done. Oh, very, very beautifully done by Benjamin Sesko. So controlled.
Again, it's always easy to look good in the highlights, showing you the moments when you take the goals. It's a good little assist to Xavi Simons.
Some creative.
So similar to Gyokeres, he kind of comes in, he can drop in, he can link up, he can help the team with some assists.
There it is. Lois Openda.
Bit of pace for a big guy.
That's a deep pass. A great one for Sesko.
Powerful.
Lays it off nicely.
Reminds me a bit more of like a Nunez build and a Nunez type of player than Gyokeres. Looks a little different.
Sesko, delicious turn by former side Dortmund. But
yeah, he is tidy.
Right now, Sesko on the attack.
He's very tidy. Finish it on that one there. But yeah, again, a little bit different to Gyokeres. Big boy, but again, like I said, maybe a little bit more in the kind of like the Nunez type mold of player. He's kind of tall, he's kind of lanky, he's kind of powerful, certainly over that first kind of 10 yards or so. He can kind of just blitz away from you, but it's also got a nice little bit of silky feet. It looks like he can drop in and get involved in the play, so a little different to Gyokeres. But on that note, just because I'm talking about Nunez, and you know, I wanted to go through again like the number 9's that are out there, that search for a number 9, and I had a little look at Nunez's stats. Obviously as a Liverpool fan, you know, I'm there. I'm watching him most of the time, and I know the sitters he's missed, and I know this season you could tell Slot didn't really trust him, and Nunez looked like he'd lost confidence in himself and kind of lost confidence in the path he was going on personally at Liverpool, and almost looked as if he felt as if his time was up, and it was in his head, and he wasn't too sure whether this was going to work for him. So I have had a little look at Nunez's stats. I think again, if we go all the way back to 2020, 2021, I mean Nunez at the moment, Nunez is 26. There's talks of Napoli being in for him. Totally can see that working, right? I can see that working. Playing under Antonio Conte, he's a bit of a chaotic player. Naples is a bit feels very chaotic and passionate, and Nunez feels like he would really suit that. Whether Liverpool are going to get the money that they would like to get for him, because we do know there was about a £70 million bid in January from Saudi for him, so they know that Saudi can maybe offer that money. It's whether Nunez wants to do it or not, and I hope he doesn't do that. I totally get why players are doing it, and the money is a bit life-changing, but Nunez has still got something to offer at the highest level and at the Champions League level, and I'd be really interested to see him at a team like Napoli. I think it would really, really suit him. So, again, he's 26, just turned end of June, so just a few days past. So there he is, 2021, right? Let's start there. He plays 29 games in the league in Portugal. He gets 6 goals and 10 assists. In total that season, he plays 44 games, gets 14 goals, 12 assists. So yeah, some double figures there. Again, I think high strikers should be hitting double figures in goals if you're of that high level. 21-22, he plays 28 games in the league, gets 26 goals, 4 assists. In total, he plays 41 games, 34 goals and gets 4 assists. That season, Benfica play 10 in the Champions League, he gets 6 goals. So that's a good return there. He's hitting it in the Champions League. If we then go to 22-23, hold on a second. Where's his season 21-22 where he bangs in? Yeah, sorry, that was it that we just went through. So he gets 34 goals and 4 assists. So it's a lot of goals in that 21-22 season. Sorry, I thought I'd skipped something there and gone over it, but I had not. That's what these videos are about. They're not about being perfect. It's all about being on the spot. So then Liverpool then go and buy him for that fee. A fee plays a part. You know that's going to play a part in him. And he comes in, he plays 29 games in the first season under Klopp. He gets 9 goals and 3 assists. In total, he plays 42 games. He gets 15 goals and 4 assists. So he's setting double figures, and he's at 15, and that's not bad. Plays 8 Champions League games, gets 4 goals. So it's not a shocker of a season for that first season. It's not what you want for 80 million when he comes in, but he's still young, and we know how raw he is. And he's not really changed that. So yeah, big improvement here. He plays 36 games this season, gets 11 assists and 10 goals in the league. In total, he plays 54 games. He gets 18 goals and 15 assists. That season, we're in the Europa League. He plays 10 games, gets 5 goals and 1 assist. That's decent numbers, 18 and 15. I'm sure he could have had more in the games I remember watching, the likes against like Luton and sticks out of my head. But that's just what you get with Nunez. It's just rash, it's chaotic, and it felt... I thought when we signed Nunez, right, like, Haaland is out there as kind of the number 9 that's kicking around there. I mean, if we have a little look at them, Haaland we know for sure. You've got like Harry Kane at Bayern Munich, you've got Lewandowski at Barcelona. Real Madrid don't really have a 9. Osimhen at Napoli potentially, or Liverpool maybe looking to see if they could do something there and get Osimhen. He's someone I've not got up here, but I think we should maybe pull his stats up and have a look at him. You got Lautaro Martinez at Inter Milan. We've got Isak, who I want to get into, like Højlund, Gyokeres. So like the number 9s are hard to come by, and when we signed Nunez, it was that kind of comparison straight away of him against Erling Haaland, like it is going to be this season with Florian Wirtz against Ryan Cherky, right? It's just what everyone's going to do. The media is going to paint it that way. One costs a lot of money, or in that case, Nunez costs more than Haaland, and you're going to compare them, right? So that's not shocking for that season, but he was so wrong when we signed him. I just felt like, I don't know how many managers out there can like harness Darwin Nunez. Jurgen Klopp, I think, was one, which is what we've seen there in that second season when he gets a hold of him a bit and he gets 18 goals and 15 assists. I think he can harness him and get him fired up and get him pumped up. Arne Slot's not that type of guy, and just where Liverpool are at right now, it's really about winning, and it's not... I don't think the focus for Liverpool in the next 3 years is going to be a lot on giving time to people to develop. It's going to be about sure things and staying at this level. That's going to be the goal. So it's just, Slot just wasn't really for Nunez, that type of guy. And by the way, fair enough with the chances he misses and how frustrating he can be also, right? Don't get me wrong. And there was a lot of times Slot called him out this season on like, he's fine with them missing chances, but then he kind of just disappears and there's no work rate and you're almost playing with the player down, and you can't have that. And you can see that this season. He plays 30 games, not a lot of them are starts, 5 goals, 3 assists in the league. In total, he plays 47 games, he gets 7 goals and 7 assists. So I know his minutes are a little bit down. You can see his minutes there that he gets. So yeah, I mean, it's a dip and you can see it there, but not shocking. And again, he's probably in the same... he's in the same boat as like Gyokeres and Sesko. Like, he's not done that shockingly bad that anyone that thinks he goes somewhere else, he might not explode and do very well. But again, as a club, are you risking 60 plus million for him? Maybe 50 plus million if you're going down a little bit there. At 26, you've probably got, if we say 30 is about the cut-off when you can maybe sell someone back on for a bit of value. You've got 4 more years of him. So he is a very, very interesting one, and wherever Nunez ends up, I hope it works out for him. And I don't know, I don't see a world in where he's still at Liverpool in the summer, but you do never know. I think last striker who really is the only sure thing, I would say, right, which is Isak. I mean, no one's ever a sure thing, and obviously his injuries would play a part, although I've heard that through listening to the podcast, it's a little bit blown out of proportion how bad he was this past season. He actually didn't miss too many games. But there is that kind of groin niggling injury that he does get there. And if you're paying, which is sounding like that the media and everyone on Twitter and stuff is talking about, is sounding close to 150. So you're looking at, easily 100 mil plus for this guy. So again, that's the only kind of red flag over it. Like, how is his injury record? How fit is he going to be? And I've heard a lot of things said about Newcastle, about how this could almost be could this be their Coutinho moment in terms of getting a lot of money in for a player that, yes, is very, very good and is high level, as was Coutinho at the time. He was by far our most exciting and best player at the time. But can you then take that money and actually reinvest it cleverly across the squad that's maybe going to benefit you in all areas? But it's hard to get 9s, as we've just said. Goals are so hard to come by at the moment. So I don't know. Newcastle just they seem a bit stuck. They seem stuck within the PSR constrictions, and without the consistency of Champions League football and it's getting harder, as discussed in the full end of season podcast with Matthew and Greg. Like, I don't know, they're just in a very, very weird place in this kind of new era of football. Well, we'll see new era, it depends on how the City trial goes, but potentially this new era of football, they just seem a bit stuck in between stools. But let's just have a look at Isak, right? Let's maybe, we can go back to, let's maybe not go back as far as 2020, 2021. Let's go 21, 22. He plays 32 games that season in the Liga, 6 goals, 2 assists. Total of 41 games, 10 goals and 3 assists. So, so there, but again, he's young, he's learning. He then comes to Newcastle, he plays 22 games, he gets 10 goals and 2 assists that season. In total, he plays 29 games, gets 11 goals and 3 assists. So he's in the double figures there. They did pay a big fee for him, though. It's about 70 million from Sociedad. So, people kind of knew he was going to explode a little bit there. Sociedad knew what Newcastle were getting. This year's where he steps up, 23-24. He plays 30 games, 21 goals and 2 assists. In total, he plays 40 games, gets 25 goals and 2 assists. So very high numbers. They play 5 Champions League games that season. He gets 1 goal in the Champions League. So that's where he kind of really explodes with those 21 goals in the league. He's backed that up again this season. They played 34 games this season, 23 goals in the league and 6 assists. In total, he plays 42 games. He gets 27 goals and 6 assists. They're not in Europe, obviously, so there's no goals there. So you can see Isak there 2 seasons in a row has consistently hit 21 and 23 goals. And I think everyone that watches him and watches Newcastle and watches the Premier League and watches those games would say, yeah, like, I know what Isak's going to bring. And he does feel, if you're going to sign him in that league, like pretty much a sure thing, bar that little red flag of injuries. But it's going to cost you a hell of a lot of money. I mean, as I said, Liverpool are looking for one, but we've dropped 116 on Vert, so we're going to go mental and get Isak as well, which I'm about to move into. But I think Liverpool are seeing a little bit of a moment here where there might be a bit of a gap, where City are rejuvenating, but it's at the very beginning. Could you kind of stay ahead of them for at least a year and then go toe-to-toe with them, maybe when Pep's really got it clicking in year 2 and 3? Do you maybe just spend the money on Isak now and you don't do any business maybe next summer, or certainly small business, and you keep yourself ahead? Is it worth it? And obviously, can they spend it? I don't know the details on there, but yeah, I mean, Arsenal aren't going to do that, I don't think. I mean, it seems obvious if you're Arsenal, that's who you try and go for, but don't think they're looking to spend 150 million on him. Again, is it worth it? Is that all you need? All your eggs in that basket? I don't know. Goals are hard to come by, and I think Isak would certainly, you would feel if Arsenal got him, you'd think, okay, Arteta, if you maybe open things up a little bit more than you did last season, there's a chance here of you guys maybe really getting over the line in the big competitions with a guy like that up top. So they're definitely hard to come by. Isak, for me, feels like the only sure thing. Is someone going to go and pay the money for him? I don't know. Does he do another year at Newcastle anyway, since they're still in the Champions League? He's only going to be 26 again. Oh, he's going to turn 26 in September. So, he's going to be 26, turning 27 as you look to get him. Kind of talked about it. That's kind of like the kind of start of those kind of three peak years, so to speak, that everyone says. I don't know. I think it depends on your situation. Liverpool, if we've got the money and we're willing to do it, we've got the left back wrapped up, and we're going to move into that now, actually. We've got the right back wrapped up. Let's see. We'll start with Liverpool, as I said, Gyokeres and Frimpong in. They spent the money on Verts. Marmadashvili's in, backup / competition to Alisson. But Kwanzaa's gone the other way. I think Liverpool look to find another centre-back, but Liverpool are making a statement here with their business, and it feels like everyone's looking at it going, Liverpool are just doing exactly what they should be doing, looking exactly what they should be doing, because they are absolutely nailing down what they are doing in the transfer market. But it doesn't always work out that way. I think there's a little bit more business to go, but we shall see. We shall see. I wanted to go to City, and again, vibes. Liverpool are doing that. I think everyone's in there, and I think everyone's looking at City going again, yeah, like, little bit of business. City started theirs in January. That's where City start theirs, right? City start theirs in January. Right, apologies about that. Ran out of memory on my memory card, so let's just pick up where we left off. Like I said, City did what they did in January. They went and got Marmoush, they bought Nico Gonzalez, they bought Kushnav, they bought Vitor Rice as the young players. So they started that rebuild. They needed energy. They needed something new, something fresh. Just time to clear it out. New guys in that are younger, different type of player, coming in to be like the next kind of generation of players, and Pep kind of work with them, and can Pep get himself back up to the top and stay motivated and stay hungry and adapt and continue to do what he's done for so long and be at the top of the game. This summer, again, Reinders in from AC Milan at 26 years old, done a video on that. They bought Aït-Nouri at left back, decent signing again. It's going to be interesting because you would say Aït-Nouri and Gyokeres were the two left backs in the league that, if you're looking to strengthen there, are kind of obvious choices. Liverpool have gone for Gyokeres, City have gone for Aït-Nouri. There'll be comparisons there all season. And like I said, they've got Cherki in, 21 years old, for about 36 million euros. He's going to get compared to Florian Wirtz at the end of the day for 113 million. But you get the feeling that Liverpool and City know what they've wanted. They've gone and bought them, and you're looking at it and you're going, yeah, I see how that's going to work next season. I do. So if you're asking me, I really do think they're 1 and 2 next season. I know that's not like a crazy massive mental shout or anything, but I think they'll be 1 and 2 next season. As I said about Liverpool going to get Isak, can Liverpool look at it and go, you guys are at the beginning of that? We're just kind of changing. Like, it doesn't feel as much like a rejuvenation. It's more just a change to keep the track going, keep on the right track. Whereas City feel like they're just getting going on that. But like I said, Pep in the Club World Cup, it'll be interesting to see how that plays a part come the end of the season. I'm going to touch on that at the end of the video. But yeah, it might be good for them. It might not be. We're not going to know, right? And it's the first time anyone's going to do it. But the feeling, certainly in the Premier League, and I think all across Europe, I mean, apart from like Madrid, have obviously got Trent in on a free, right? And we know they're doing the whole Mbappe thing and that. It's another year in. They've got Alonso. They bought Huijsen. I mean, they're the 3 clubs that look like they're doing across Europe are going to be, the most dangerous next season again in each of their leagues, and also probably challenging for the Champions League so far with regards to sightings and that. PSG will just like to build on what they've got, and still could do something in the market, but I think they'll just build on what they've got and kind of go for another year with those players. The squad's pretty young and they'll just like to grow and develop. So it's good from City. On that point, I mean, Arsenal, as I said about the number 9, right? Like, when he comes in, he's really going to have to hit the ground running, and if they're really struggling and they're looking like they're going to be behind, there's going to be a lot of noise around Arteta. So they just have a lot that's going to go on, and he's going to need to continue. Arteta is going to need to make sure he's winning game after game after game as much as he can to just keep the Wolves away from the door. I mean, where I stand on it is I get it. Like, I do get it. But I think he's got the team to a level, and getting over the line is very, very difficult. And only one team can win the league. Only one team can win the Champions League. One team can win the FA Cup or the League Cup. Like, and it's just getting over the line. It's very, very difficult. There's only one top spot, right? You don't want to be number 2. So yeah, they've got Norgard in. I get it. Partey's gone. There's still is Zubamendi officially signed? Maybe should have looked at that. I'm actually not too sure what the deal is on that. They've signed Norgard. Like, Partey's gone, Norgard's in. It's kind of your rotation guy who you feel can offer a little bit. Like, I get it, but again, the vibe feels like we don't know where we're going. We know we know what we need with the striker. We know where we're going. And an interesting point about Arsenal is Havertz has actually done really well, I think everyone would say, and I know he's not like that out and out 9, but he does well in that number 9 position, and if you give him chances, he is half decent at taking them. So could they even just look to strengthen on the left wing and look to get goals from there? Saka obviously offers a lot himself on the right. I think Havertz can do enough. If you bought a really, really world-class left winger, there's chats like Rodrigo and stuff, right? If they bring the goals in, then that might be what needs to push them. So maybe it doesn't need to be that number 9, because again, it doesn't look like they're sure on anybody. It doesn't look like, yes, Sesko's our man, Gyokeres is our man. There's like Ekitike playing for Frankfurt that's been mentioned, but again, things like that, none of it just seems sure. So maybe they go down that route of just getting a left winger in instead of a number 9. We'll see. But the vibe right now, when obviously we're on June 30th today, so the vibe just right now is Liverpool and City are ahead in terms of where they're at, and they're ahead in terms of where they're moving in the transfer market. So I think it might be a bit of struggle. Just to wrap up, like other kind of transfer things that have been going on. Just having a look here. I mean, I think João Pedro looks like he's going to go off to Chelsea, and I buy him again. That's another striker. I'm not too sure on paying the money that they look like they're paying for him. It's looking like 60-70 million that they're going to pay for him. It's a lot of money again. Like, good player at Brighton, decent. I mean, Chelsea have just been fucking buying all of Brighton's players recently, haven't they? And giving them a lot of money. And Brighton are in the book. I'm reading the How to Win a Premier League book, and they talk about Tony Bloom and he'll be all right with that if the price comes in and they feel like it's more than what the player's given to the team and they can invest it in the transfer market. They'll take it, and they've done that with João Pedro. I'm probably going to butcher this guy's name, but Gyökeres coming from Dortmund to Chelsea, another attacker, another winger. Who knows how they're going to make it work? They do have the Champions League this season, so maybe having that big squad to rotate to keep things fresh is not a shocking thing if you can keep everyone happy. I don't know, but Chelsea are just Chelsea and are a bit mad. And, Maresca, they dipped off last season. They managed to get themselves in the Champions League, and that'll be huge for him. He got it, by coming fourth as well. So he'll take that, and they'll just kind of look to grow in the Champions League, stay in Champions League spots. I don't think they should be looking to push for a title necessarily. You would say maybe with the money they're spending, they should be, but I think the development year 2 of where they're at, I think if you're all saying to yourselves, can we stay in the Champions League and see how we do in Europe? We get to the knockout phases, you never know. And just kind of take it from there, and then maybe year 3, right? Okay, can we have a little punt at this title? Which will be interesting. Calvert-Lewin's left Everton on a free contract. Everton are letting a few players go, so it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of get back into things and kind of remold this team now there. Pogba back at Monaco. Just kind of a whole bit of a wild, crazy story that is, isn't it? Pogba and Monaco and just where his career's been in the last kind of couple of years. Just bizarre. Like I said, I've got Norgard to Arsenal here, I've already talked about. And then, United have made a couple of moves, and again they've kind of sniffed around Gyokeres, but the big one they're looking like they're gonna do is Mbeumo, and I've done the video on it. We got 20 goals last season. I like Brian Mbeumo, and I'm thinking, yeah, maybe it's worth giving him a shot, but United just offered 62.5, including add-ons, I think that was, and they've rejected it. So I mean, you're talking 70, right? You're maybe talking pushing 70. For one season, he's got the 20 goals. Looked at his stats before. It's not like it's consistent. I don't know. I think it's almost like a year too early thing, and it just feels like United have got a free run at him. I wouldn't like that. Like if everyone's like, yeah, he's worth 70 million, he's going to get those goals, I think you'd see other teams in for him. Again, maybe it's not the needs in the position he plays. Like Arsenal don't need him off the right. Liverpool don't need him. City, don't feel like they need him. So maybe it's just the fact that they're like, it's just not an area of the pitch that we need to strengthen. But it just makes me think, like, why is no one else going for it? And I just a bit overpaying for Man United. And again, as my mate Ali said, like he plays a wing back. So is Mbeumo kind of going to tuck in? And Mbeumo likes to be out on the wing. Maybe he's going to have him like an inside forward. Like, I don't think that's like a mad thing to say he can do. Potentially maybe playing down the middle and rotate seems to be the way forward. So I don't know about that one. A lot of money, but I think that's about it. I've probably rambled for a good half an hour or so here. But I think that's about it. I think that'll catch us up on where we are at moving forwards. The Club World Cup, sorry, just to finish off with. I have not like fully tuned in so much on it. I turned PSG on yesterday. Girlfriend was falling asleep having a nap. They were already 4 up. Second half was just kicking off. I had Palmeiras Botafogo on my laptop in the garden on Saturday, but we were all having some beers and it was in the background on mute. I'm going to be honest, I didn't really watch a ball kicked, but I think I'm not going to go into like my thoughts and all that on it. And the honest answer is I don't really know. It's year 1 of it, but my intriguing thing for me as a fan, because I'm starting to look at it as I see it come up on Twitter and stuff like that, is now we're hitting the quarter-final stage. We know PSG are going to play Bayern on Saturday, 5 o'clock. That's my birthday. Oh, that could be getting watched actually. So that intrigues me as a fan. Yeah, it's on a Saturday. Have a couple of beers. It's my birthday. I'm PSG v Bayern Munich kicking on in the background. The other matches, the teams that could go through the quarters, Inter and Fluminense are playing tonight. South American teams always interest me. So if they beat Inter, let's see it. Inter, we know, got to the Champions League final. They're not bad. Man City playing Al Hilal. You'd imagine City get through there. Real Madrid have got Juventus tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Probably give that a little watch. And then Dortmund are playing Monterrey at 2 a.m. So, you've got Inter, Fluminense, City probably over Al Hilal, Real, Juventus, and then Dortmund. Again, Monterrey might be an interesting team. I'm pretty sure Liverpool played them in the Club World Cup when they did it in like the winter time when we won it. Dortmund getting through. Dortmund are always good to watch. Monterrey, just a bit of a chaotic team. And Palmeiras are also already in the quarterfinal against Chelsea, which South American team against Chelsea just feels like it'll be a bit feisty. So I'm just intrigued to see if I myself and people I know and friends and if the numbers start going up, you know, the TV ratings and all that from here on out, I think this is kind of the point of what they're wanting to get to, like a Champions League of like all of these teams now are going to touch each other in the quarterfinal, because that's basically what it is. So we'll see. We will see. It concludes on the 13th of July, so teams don't have a ton of time when they get back before the season starts, depending on what league you're in. But yeah, I think that'll do us. I'm going to start rambling now for real. As always, if you get all the way to the end, thanks a lot for watching. Do deeply appreciate it. The subscription service is going to drop Friday, July 18th. I'm heading to Spain on Sunday the 20th. So yeah, going to work out how to get some content out that week for the first week of subscription for you guys, for everyone that subscribes to it. It's going to be a work in progress. You're going to grow with me. I'm going to make it better as I go. I'm going to make some mistakes. It's not going to be perfect, but I think that might be quite cool. I like watching people build and grow myself. And, you know, people I maybe pay to be part of like YouTube memberships or stuff like that. It's cool to watch it. So I hope you guys find it too. It is Monday. It's a bit muggy out here in Gullen at the moment. But yeah, have a good one. Get yourselves outside if you can. Get some fresh air. Start the week off right. Hit the gym. Do all those things. All right. Have a good one. Peace.